Welcome to Conversations with Karin Kelly, whereby weekly conversations are held with you regarding life and unlocking your full potential to shift, change, and grow through our conversations. Today, I have a guest with me, Claire Stephens, who runs a group called no other than Conversations with Claire, which actually, that's what actually attracted me in the first place, and actually seeing her on Facebook, that connection, where those of us that have overwhelm can go and share stories of encouragement and building up one another. And this group was designed by her coming from a place of healing. So, welcome, Claire, to today's conversation with Karin.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You're welcome. So, who am I? I'm Karin Kelly, a transformation coach and author. And for the past 19 plus years, I've assisted women and men to unlocking their full potential. Do you anger easily? Overly stressed? Have resentment towards another or yourself? Have low self-confidence and hopefulness? Problems in your relationship? Is it still difficult to get over abuse and trauma you've had in your life? So why is it so hard to let go of pain, which is our conversation for today? One of the pains or defining of our pains I'm going to mention is forgiveness. Forgiveness is letting go of resentment, grudges, negative attitudes, and upsets that occupy your mind. Basically, sap your ability to love and destroy your peace of mind. Think about that. It is not about turning the other cheek to be hurt again, or reconciling with the victimizer, or condoning what they did. Those regrettable interpretations, unfortunately, about forgiven has been given a terrible name, basically. You know, people say, I'm not going to forgive, forgive and forget. I lie. So most people have to have met or admit they know forgiving is the right thing to do, but they say they don't know how to do it. Letting go of what pain? How do I let go of that pain? The question of forgiving, though, is not only what methods help you to forgive, letting go, but also what keeps you from doing it. This also applies to the pain of many things, for example, loss. Claire, what are your thoughts with regards to pain and loss, specifically loss?
Yeah, it's a very personal one for me because 7 years ago I lost my first pregnancy, where I had gone to the gynae for my normal 12-week check. First time mom, super excited, want to see my little squack in my belly, and only to be told, oh, there's a problem, but we can't do anything about it now. You're just going to have to go home and wait till about 18 weeks and then we can do a test and see what the actual problem is. And the pain was, obviously there's a problem with your child and you don't know how to fix it, but it's also a complete failure as a woman to be able to successfully carry through a pregnancy. I managed to find another doctor that could help me through and help me understand exactly what was going on and go through the amniocentesis and all of that. And then the hard decisions came because this little one had a disorder called trisomy. So that's worse than Down syndrome, where your organs can be born outside of the body, and they generally have sort of a 0.3% rate of being born, and if that, they live for a day or so and they die. So then you had to make that horrible call of, we got to just make this decision. And it was painful and traumatic, and it just brought up everything that was negative. But the day before I was going to go for the procedure, my mum came down to be with me in here so that I wasn't alone. And I just said to her, my little girl died. And I think everyone around me was like, oh no, I think that it's much easier, it's much better. And I went in for the procedure the next morning, and the first thing the doctor said to me was, she was already gone. So that brought a bit of relief, but at the same time, it took another almost 3 years before I actually was happy to try and have another child. And I think the sad thing when it comes to the children, or any pain really that has a sort of memorial date, if I can put it that way, is on the birthday, on the day she was lost. Every year you're reminded, and every year it can be such a traumatic experience to go through it, because the pain is real. It's not made up in your head.
Oh yes.
But to be able to turn that around and to rather celebrate is such a hard word, because you celebrate Christmases and you celebrate birthdays, so you don't want to celebrate a loss, but almost celebrate the potential that was there and the experience, because everything good or bad makes us who we are at the end of the day, and we just label it as good or bad in our human interpretation. But it's the yin and yang. Everything in our lives has brought us to where we are. It plays a role in who we are. So that's been a real hard one to try and come to terms with.
Yeah.
How do you honor it?
Yeah, it's like, trauma generates special circumstances of shock, grief, and fear. And like Claire said, her pain was real. And some people will say, but it was 12 weeks, it's for the best. That pain is real. It's under the heart, the womb. It may lead to complete exhaustion. So it is crucial to take breaks now and then and return to the laughter and joy of normal life, even in the midst of grieving. And similarly, in forgiveness work, don't force yourself to let it go if it does not seem natural. So you force something. Take an emotional break before moving to the next stage or incident. Accepting where you are essential in the healing process. Resting, remembering, releasing, it goes in cycles in healing. And be patient with yourself. Hey, Claire?
Absolutely.
You can do it from experience.
And no two people experience it the same way. I think that's the bottom line, is there's all these thousands of books and tools out there in the world, and everyone's trying to tell you how to make it better. But in essence, we as people need to find our way of making it better. That's unique to you.
Yeah.
And when that hits, then you find peace. But trying to do it someone else's way just makes you feel like even more of a failure, because it worked for them. Why isn't it working for me? So it's a very personal thing. And I think in life, we need to honor that intuition and that in ourselves. Your favorite one, be you. That's what you need to do. The essence of who you are, without any judgment and without any comparison and without any outside influences. So your healing might be crying on the floor for an hour or so before you can get up and feel again. Or it might be to put on the loudest, bounciest music and sweat it out. But that's your call. And nobody else can tell you how to do it.
No one. I also talk from personal experience. This is crucial to all the viewers, is that your mind, the importance, why it's so important to let go of that pain. Yes, you will get triggered. Is that your mind cannot go in opposite directions and get anywhere. And I've got an elastic on my desk somewhere. Yeah. So example, resentment, love, and think of this elastic. It can only get so far. Pain, love, can only get so far. Something has to give. Something has to happen. And if you don't learn to forgive or move forward with regards to your pain, you are then handcuffed to the past by choice. It sounds almost cruel to say that, but what I'm saying, I'm even thinking of my loss, you know. It sounds cruel, but it's true. You are handcuffed by choice to the past. However, at the end of the day, that's your choice. But then you stay strapped in your anger or pain and in prison with your own emotions because of a desire to possibly see another suffer or yourself suffer.
Yeah. Because you can go into a very dark space of saying, I'm only worth this. I'm unworthy of happiness because of what I've done or the pain that I've caused or what has happened. And that's a really dangerous place to be.
You know, please reach out. Whether you reach out to people that around you that have experienced loss, whether it be a friend, a doctor, a therapist, a coach, a conversation healer, reach out, please reach out. So and as Claire knows, like to part with techniques or things that you can actually take away, tools that you can take away. Let me put this elastic down, else I'm going to hurt myself. So if you've got a pen and paper ready, grab a pen and paper. Otherwise, you can always press rewind and come to this place again. So we're going to ask you some techniques that you use, Claire. Is on the piece of paper, number one, right there. What is a negative thing you believe or have believed in the past about forgiveness or letting go of your pain? I'm not going to answer that question. Answer that question for yourself. One of the blocks to forgiving, I want to mention some myths. Myth one. I'm not going to mention them all. I was going to be sitting here all day. Myth one, the person is deceased or no longer around. So forgiveness is not needed, right? You might think out of sight, out of mind. But if you still carry the upsetting emotion and ideas, then the injury remains alive in you. Hey, Claire?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not the other person holding on to it, it's you.
Yeah, yes. Myth two, I don't have to forgive because I never want to see them again. Please note that forgiveness does not mean reconciliation.
No.
Still
You're just dragging the dirty laundry wherever you go.
I think of your pain, Claire, and out of sight, out of mind. I don't need to acknowledge it anymore. I don't have to celebrate the birthdays. But you said something there about honoring what you actually do once a year, and I'm sure it's not once a year that memory comes up, or that trigger comes up for you.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, for me, what I did was I planted a big tree. Well, I planted a sapling in my garden. So
awesome.
that's Morgan's tree. And when I'm missing, I go and have a chat under the tree, or just go and lie in the sun and just be there and just feel. And for me, that's what I needed to keep going.
That is critical. That word, feel. Myth number 3. If I forgive, I will be condoning or justifying the offense. Moving forward and letting go does not mean forgetting or mean condoning or excusing that offense. Doesn't mean forgetting the loss. In my personal opinion, if you forget, how are you going to learn? You might say to yourself or to me, but they don't deserve my forgiveness. Perhaps it's true, but whether they do or not is not the issue. You deserve it. Like you, Claire.
Yep.
You deserve happiness. So do you want to remain caged and handcuffed to the past? No,
Nope.
she didn't. So obviously you put processes in place to get to where you are today. Myth number 4. Before I forgive, I need an apology.
Good luck.
You may wait forever and not get that admission of guilt you want. The person who caused the upset may have a different perspective and of what happened and feel that an apology is unnecessary. In fact, he or she might expect an apology from you. I'm going to mention one more myth. I call it a myth. I don't want to give it a negative connotation, just saying a negative. Myth, one more. I've tried, but I can't. I've heard this time and time again. I mean, we ourselves don't think as coaches, don't face it ourselves. We do. And there are many reasons why you can't. You'll give yourself many reasons why you can't forgive, but that doesn't mean it can't be done.
My coach is talking to me at the moment, Karin, about the words that we speak and the power behind them. Ooh. And she says, there is no try.
Yeah.
You either do it or you don't.
Correct.
And for the last week, I've been practicing that, to not say the word, I'm going to try and do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to either do it or I'm not. And that makes the world of difference, because it's a mindset. If you decide you can't do something, you won't. Nothing in the world will get you to do it. So,
yeah, I agree with your coach. I actually just said to a client of mine on Wednesday, when they said, oh, yeah, okay, yes, I'll try. I said, that means you're not going to do it. He looked at me, excuse me. I said, you said the word try. That means you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So to change your languaging.
Yeah.
Claire, would you like to build on or advise on one of the myths? Like, I've tried to move forward from my pain, I've lost, but I can't. What did you do?
I think for me, my word was honoring. Because it's something that will always be a part of me. It's not something I can change. It's not something I can get a different result of. But it's about finding a way to honor it within my life. And like I say, feel those feelings, get real with it. It comes and goes in waves. It's forever there, you know. You can sit and wonder, well, how would she have been at school? How many friends would she have had? What would she have done? What would our relationship have been like? But not to drive myself crazy with the wondering either, just to be there and to be open about it. And with my little girl now, she knows. She had a sister, Morgan, that was 3 years older than her, and Morgan's her guardian angel that looks after her every day. And we can openly talk about it. It's not a secret. And we go and visit Morgan's tree often, and just to find that peace in it, and to be able to speak about it, because I think when you keep it in the silent, it has so much more power because it's festering. So for me, it's about being open and honest. My husband isn't the same opinion. He prefers to push it aside and let it be. And that's each to their own. We all just have to find our ways of dealing with it. But deal with it.
Yeah, each to their own. If you do push it away, it's because you don't like feeling that pain. So I'd rather not think about it, you know. Look and see if one of the myths that I mentioned to you of forgiveness stands in the way of you being able to forgive. Write down the myth. Number one, would dispelling the myth allow you to see the situation from a different perspective? Number two, could you forgive the other person now? The real consequence of holding on to upsets, sometimes people believe there is a benefit to not forgiving. So let's look at this. The first thing to look at is payoff for not letting go of the upset. Generally, people have a good reason for doing or not doing something, even though a decision we've made might not seem to be our best interest. If we look deeply, we'll find a belief that the choice was the best one possible at the time. Another thing, ask yourself is, what do I get by keeping the upset going? And write it down. Write down any benefits. Who benefits and how? B, is being right more important than being happy? Sometimes you don't notice how much the upset affects you. Here are questions you can ask is like, what am I really getting out of this upset? List the negatives and the positives. I'd love to hear if there are any positives, please. Number two, what is happening to the people closest to me by holding on to the upset? Another one, third one is, in my life, how strong are love, peace, and joy? Another one you can ask yourself is, could forgiving the situation increase my happiness and those around me? Now think of you, Claire, if you hadn't. What the possibilities and the outcomes could have been. The following are questions about being a victim, for example, is, have I seen myself as a victim of others? It's a very good question. You need to contemplate about that one. Ask, how long have I felt victimized? Another thing you could say is, how long is it okay to let others be in control of my happiness? You might want to actually listen to that again. How long is it okay to let others be in control of my happiness? Because that's what you're doing. What are your thoughts on that, Claire? I see you busy writing down.
I'm writing down curiously. It's all absolute gems. Yeah, I think the big question that came up for me is, without forgiveness, how good a mom am I being for Eden? Because I have an angel, and I'd love to think that I'm a good mom, but have I
What's her
really
name?
let go?
What's her name?
My daughter's name is Eden.
Oh, beautiful. I've never
Thank you.
heard of a name like that. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Eden. Oh,
Uh,
wow.
so yeah,
Yeah.
that is a big one for me. Um, so a lot to ponder on, I think.
Yeah.
And it's not an immediate. We can't just switch it on and switch it off. That would be awesome. But I'm very grateful for the gems.
Yeah. This conversation can go on for hours. And yes, a workshop is going to be held regarding this very topic soon by me. We are drawing, unfortunately, to an end with our conversation. So, Claire, is there anything else you would like to bring over to our audience?
I wish you all gentle spaces to feel and to be felt, to see and to be seen. And just know that you're never alone.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the world is a tough place to be in. And what I've been through, only after I started speaking out did I find out how many other people and how many other women have done the same.
Yeah.
So find your space and share your stories, and let it be a space for you and for your healing, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
But thank you for letting me be a part of this one. It was an honor.
Yeah, Claire, thank you for being on the Conversations with Karin. And I'd like to extend an invitation to let's have more conversations like this.
Fabulous. I'm in.
So, my audience, remember to my lips stuck together now. So obviously, it wants to have more conversation, but it has to end. So, remember to hit the subscribe button and like button if you'd like to hear future talks, and be safe and be you. Thank you.
Thanks, Karin.